Please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
I've struggled with an idea for a while, and it's how like everybody. This sounds so dumb. Just hold on. Give me a second. But it is crazy that everybody is a person. What I mean by that is when you're like a little kid and you just living your life, you know, you go to school and then you go home and then sometimes you play with your friends and sometimes you stay in and you watch cartoons. You know that you have a life. You know that you're a whole person, even if you don't have a full awareness of yourself. You know that you go to different places and you do different things. Even when you have a new experience, it doesn't even occur to you to be like, oh no, I don't do that. Because you're a kid just experiencing the world. But there are boxes that we put people in. I think it's completely unintentional. I don't think there's any malice behind it. But I remember the first time that I realized that someone who I definitely cared about and I definitely enjoyed their company and I definitely liked was a whole other person. I was a little kid. I was with my mom at the grocery store and we saw my teacher. And I was shocked. I was like, I said it out loud. I said it to her. Why aren't you at school? If you're here, then whose? It was a crazy thing in my head. My brain was breaking in that moment. I'm this little kid. I've only ever seen her at school. She's supposed to be at school. I shouldn't see her if I'm not at school. And she's over here buying groceries. I was like, you eat groceries? This is wild. And then she was over here having a conversation with my mom. They both ignored me asking why she wasn't at school. I still had questions. And then she, said she'd see us on Monday and walked away. And in my head, I was like, Monday? It's Saturday. She's not even gonna be at school tomorrow. Blew my mind that one of my favorite teachers had like a house. And like, I'd always heard about her husband, but I thought that's just something teachers say to like pass the time and stuff. She had a whole life. And it feels like a silly lesson to learn when you're a kid, and then you get older and you realize you have to keep relearning it over and over again because you meet more and more people and you've already boxed them in. And then they surprise you and then you think, oh, I'm a little ashamed I was even surprised. I should know from when I was like 6 that people are like, everybody's a person. But it's an easy lesson to forget because you can only sometimes see a person in a certain way. Like my friend, I have a couple friends now who they've got drunk with their parents, and it's a boundary that some people never break with their parents. Sometimes their parents are like, oh, I'm gonna have a couple drinks, but I'm not gonna be drunk in front of my son, you know what I mean? And then there are people who will always have that thing of like, oh, I don't want to be drunk in front of my parent. You know what I mean? It's like weird. I feel like I'd be in trouble. It's like, well, you're 42. Yeah, but still. I don't know. I don't want my mom to see me drunk. It's like, well, she saw you at your worst as a baby. I guarantee you drunk just brings you like one step above baby. But it was an interesting thing. My friend said that he he got, had a couple drinks with his dad. Now, his dad was a sort of interesting case because when he was a kid, I don't know all the details, but his dad drank. And then there was something, whether it was something that happened or just like a general attitude towards drinking. At one point, his dad was like, you know what? I'm just not going to drink anymore. And he went like cold turkey sober for years and years and years, right? So he drank pretty heavily when my buddy was a kid, didn't drink until he was long out of the house. And it wasn't until after my buddy graduated college that his dad would like drink once in a while, have a drink with him. And finally, one day, his dad was like drunk with him. And he noticed his dad like drunk. And he was like, it's crazy because I know my dad used to drink. And I can only see my dad as my dad. So knowing my dad is like an annoying drunk. I don't know. I guess I forgot he could be a whole person. Because his dad had this weird, rivalry with him when he was drunk. He, walk up to him, impromptu, off of nothing. They're in the backyard. And he's like, hey. Looking good, young man, looking strong, looking tough. I mean, you looking real strong. What? You think you're stronger than me? What? I mean, no. Do you think you're stronger than me? We should race. You want to race? And he knows that a foot race with his dad sober wouldn't even be a contest. So he's like, nah, Dad, I'm good. He's like, no, come on. If you're scared, say so. If you're scared, say so. If you're scared, the old man still got it. If you're scared, say so. Said he made it into one of the most annoying songs he had ever heard in his life. Just until he would raise him, if you're scared, say so. And finally, he's like, all right, look, we'll race, fine. And he thinks if he stands up, his dad might just forget, because he's at that level of drunk where he's on a mission, but not a mission he has to complete. Y'all know that mission. This is one of my favorite missions to watch people have on like a night out. Especially with but one of my favorite side quests in any night out that a bunch of ladies are having is finding one of their phones. One phone will go missing, and it will be the biggest deal in the world for 12 minutes. And then the person whose phone is missing will be like, let's just dance. It's like, all right, but you should go get your phone though. You do need to call an Uber at some point and get home. We need your phone. It's like, yeah, but later. I don't know. It's just I don't even care. It's like, this is my song. And then it resets because then several songs later, it'll be like, yeah, you look so good. I'm going to take a picture of you. I'm going to. Oh my God, everybody stop. Everybody stop. Not their friends, everybody in the club stop. Everybody stop. And so this dude stands up thinking his dad's about to be over it anyway. And he's like, Dad, I really don't want to, we're having a good time. Let's just chill out. And his dad goes, no, race me. And he's like, all right, fine, okay. So they line up. He's not really gonna race his dad. He's gonna walk and let his dad win so he can feel good about being annoying for 15 minutes. But his dad stands up and he's ready. You ever see somebody look at a finish line like it's moving? said, all right, you ready? And they had already decided that his mom would say when to go. And so she said, go. And my buddy didn't even go. His dad took 3 steps and crashed into the patio table. And I don't know, yeah, it's gotta be tough. That's a moment that's like, you just know that now. You know your dad your whole life, and then now you're like, oh yeah, but like after the 5th Jameson, he will. You know. And it changes how you look at your dad a little bit, not even in the form of judgment, just like there's more information and you see him as like a whole person. You know good, you know bad, you know arguing with him, you know, and now you know this thing that you didn't really experience in the same way when you were a kid. Now you know. Even 4 Jamesons in, he's gonna go, no. Oh. Like I don't know if it's possible to remind yourself every time, every day, that a person is like a whole person. Because we are so distant. Person to person. Like when you meet someone that you've maybe heard about, you can only go off your impression. That impression is colored by whoever told you about this person. And it's hard to remember. I try to remind myself all the time that like, we're meeting this person. Nothing nice has been said. But I'm sure they have a dog. I don't know, like some redeeming quality. You try to approach it like that. And, you know, I fail at it a lot. You know, sometimes I let, whether it's gossip or just like a preconceived notion, take over. And then you end up being friends with this person. And you feel even worse because you're like, ooh, I judged you so harshly when we met. You know, some of my best friends, when I met them, hated their guts. I hated because I was just like, oh, just look at his face. One of my best friends from college, when we met, us meeting was me asking him for a pencil and him going, what? And so I just turned back around. I was like, all right, jerk. Turns out he just didn't hear me. We're like really good friends now, but yeah, that was not a great way to start. One of my best friends, we had that same thing. So he's a big dude. He's like 6'4", 6'5", like a strong guy, wide guy, right? Big dude. And we were both friends with a different guy. This is freshman year of college. And we had both done things in front of each other that made us go like, I don't know if I like that guy. Like I like our mutual friend, but I don't know if I like him. And then we kept being in scenarios where maybe we were waiting for our mutual friend, so we were left alone with each other. And in my head, maybe it's because of where I come from, and maybe it's because I've never been the biggest guy in the room, but this is a big old dude, and he doesn't seem like he liked me. So in my head, I was like, I just gotta act crazy. Like if I'm crazy, that'll keep at bay his size. Because even a big man doesn't want to get bit. You know what I mean? I don't care how big or strong you are. Once everybody saw what Mike Tyson did to Evander Holyfield, they were like, oh, yeah, crazy wins. Crazy will always win. I like my whole ear where it is. And then he noticed me being crazy. And so he was like, all right, I'm gonna have to flex how big I am. There was one time where we were waiting on our mutual friend because, forgot to mention earlier, our mutual friend was his roommate. So I had to be in their room a bunch before we actually got along. And I don't know, I saw him like eyeing me, and this is a college dorm room. So there's not a lot of space. So I'm like, this big guy's eyeing me. We're both waiting for our friend. So then I didn't know what to do. So I just started singing lyrics to Kanye West's 808 on a Heartbreak. No music. Impromptu. And lyrics I chose were, when I grab your neck, I touch your soul. And I just sang it to the wall, but loud enough for him to hear me. And I would later find out that when I did that, he was like, all right, that's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. In my entire life, I was trying to mug this dude into submission, but now he done sang to the wall, not even facing anything. I don't know what he talking about. Why'd he sing it too? That's crazy. That's crazy as hell. It's so much crazier to sing than it is to scream. Like if you come across somebody on the street and they scream it, you're like, all right, that's regular. If they are singing lyrics you don't know exist yet, because the album had just come out. If they're singing lyrics you don't know exist yet, get away. And so he was like, I gotta do something. I've got to do something. And the thing that he decided to do was we both got a text from our mutual friend that it would be quicker for us to meet him where he was than wait for him to come back and us head out together. And so we decided to head out together. And while I'm in the hallway, it's a long hallway from the dorm room to the end of the suite. And when I'm in the hallway, I go, ah. And he says, what? And I'm like, I think a mosquito bit me. And I was being completely sincere in this moment. I started itching. I was like, what? And he's like, what happened? I think a mosquito bit me. And then he stands extra tall, every bit of 6'5", lets his eyes dart around the hallway and goes, you hurt my friend! And then he punched the wall as hard as he could. And when he moved his fist from the wall, there was a dead mosquito. And I was like, oh Lord, he big and crazy. Oh, I'm sick. Oh. And then we became best friends. We became best friends because we got to know each other. We got to know each other, and I got to know him as a whole person. I got to know how cool he was, how sincere he is, that he would do anything for his friends, including that mosquito thing. And he got to know me, and he still liked me. So we became best friends because I got to see like the whole person, you know? And then finally one day I told him about it. I was like, hey, freshman year, because when we were juniors, we became roommates. And I told him, like, hey, I just want to get something off my chest. Freshman year, when I was in the room with you and I just started singing. I was just trying to be crazy because I thought like you were real big and like, I don't know, I had been bullied a lot, so I was just trying to like keep you at bay. And he was like, oh, that's so good to know. Which means in the time that we had become friends, he still thought like, no, that's what he does though. Like that's who he is as a person. I was like, that's so good to know, because honestly, I was wondering what I'd have to do. I thought you were genuinely crazy. And that's why I punched that wall. When I moved my hand, I couldn't believe the mosquito had actually... It's wild stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's tough sometimes accepting that someone was like a whole person. Because it is easier. If someone sucks, it's easier to just, lean on exactly what you know, and that's enough for you, and they suck, and that's the end of it. It's not necessary in your mind to get down to the deeper root of the issue about why they might be the way they are. Whatever. They suck, and I'm done talking about them. Like when I think about some of the most powerful people in the world, I think that way all the time. I forget that it's like a whole person because they suck. They suck so much. Like, I do my best to not be closed-minded about people. But the more I learn, the worse it gets. And no person is just one thing. Even monsters. Some monsters that get true crime documentaries made about them. They'll interview the kids. And sometimes the kids will be like, yeah, actually, he was like a super present father and everything. Like, it was kind of crazy. I know he killed all those people, but he came to all my soccer games. Like, it's a lot to process. Well, like, I don't know what makes a person. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know what makes a person the way that they are. I just have guesses. Sometimes my guesses are good, and I get to have a conversation with the person and see that I was kind of close. And then sometimes my guesses are totally off base because I don't have their mind. I can't act like I know why someone is the way that they are. I know for certain because of the people that I've been around. I know that sometimes when you grow up with real money, real privilege, it can be very difficult unless you are like delusional enough to accept the position you're in as anything more than like the randomness of who is born to who. It's very difficult to feel like you've made or earned anything yourself. If you are just born into billions, you see that's one of the reasons these people have to like make their mark on the world to prove that they're not just like some accident. Because within those families sometimes, and like, look, I'm not acting like I know billionaires. I know millionaires. And it's a little similar, but at the same time, there are some millionaires that are barely millionaires, so they still acting like they're middle class. Even though they're millionaires, it's actually pretty sad. And then there are people that are like multimillionaires, and I don't even really know that many multimillionaires, but I know those people have at least accepted their position as people with like wealth and privilege, right? I don't know any billionaires. But I do know the people that I am friends with that work with like truly insane net worth individuals have said things like, at a certain amount of money, it's not even money anymore. It's just you moving your will throughout the world. And that is how people with that much money think. And so if you are like a child born into this thing, especially if you don't take to it the way that we imagine people will take to it, because remember, a person is a whole person, but a lot of people will have a kid and have an idea of a child before the child is ever there. And then that idea of a child is exactly what this whole person has to be, or else they're a disappointment, or else they're a failure, right? I had the idea of you before you were ever here. And the idea of you that I had was, we play these sports together. I teach you to do this thing. We go to these things. You love the stuff that I love. Those are the hopes of like every parent. Every parent wants to share the things that they love with their kid, and hopefully the kid loves them too. Because as much as you love your sports team, as much as you love your favorite hobby, it'd be so much more enjoyable if the person you love the most loved it too. A lot of people have those hopes. That's common, that's normal. But this like world of wealth, they have an idea of maybe building a legacy, building an empire. And now whoever comes, whatever this child is, they will be someone who can uphold, build up, maintain the empire that I built. They're not having like a child, they're having a vessel to continue their wealth into the future. And that's got to be difficult to grow up in, because yes, you have all this money, you have all this privilege, you have access to all these different things, but there's a person looking at you like you don't even deserve to be here. And then there's everybody else that if you tried to tell them how it felt, they'd be like, oh, I'm sorry I couldn't hear you through all that money. You know? Cry me a river. You ever felt a penny before? And so you see people really trying to exercise out all of this trauma in a way where they still move their will throughout the world. So then we become the collateral damage of them trying to exercise demons, because they have the access to change the world the way that they see fit. And that leaves us in a very dangerous position. And I don't know exactly how to fix that, what to do about that, but I do know it presents itself in like little moments. Small moments where you can see, oh, this is like a kid. This is like a hurt kid. You know? Most powerful man in the world. Incredibly rich, billionaire. But this is a kid. This is a scared kid. This is a hurt kid. This is an angry kid. And I'm not saying that takes away all the damage, all the things that are being created by what this kid is doing. But like, I see you differently now. Like, in theory, I should be scared of you. I should be worried about what your next move is going to be. I should be worried if you're going to send someone to hurt me or my family, because you could do that. You're a very powerful person. But then things happen, and I see you react like a kid. And it's weird to see you as a whole person, you know? Like, I'm not going to... How do I put this? I could tell Trump was hurt by that South Park episode because the White House released a statement. There are school shootings where the White House doesn't release a statement. The White House released a statement. They were like, hey, look, South Park hadn't been relevant for a while now anyway. Nobody even watched. Ain't nobody crying. Nobody hurt. No. Like I've watched I watched Trump go to the Fed. He went to the Fed and he was with Jerome Powell. Now, Donald Trump put Jerome Powell in that position, all right? Donald Trump made Jerome Powell Fed chair, right? And now Donald Trump can't stand Jerome Powell and doesn't know who appointed him. And so he goes to the Fed. I guess they showing him where they make the money, shred the money. I don't know why he needed to go. He goes on a field trip to the Fed. You know, this is a very funny thing about Donald Trump. He has been very rich his entire life, but he still acts like new money. I have expected Trump to see the money being printed in front of him and go, but this dude he's at the Fed with Jerome Powell, and look, you can say numbers. You can say numbers in whatever order you want. No, you can say numbers and he can say more numbers. You can say numbers, that's your right to say numbers however you see fit. Whatever numbers you like, you can say them in 4, 3, 3, 4. You can do whatever you want. Numbers are there for you to play with. Numbers serve at your pleasure, right? Say whatever numbers you want in whatever order you want, whenever you want. That will not make it math. And so Trump is talking to the media, and he just like throwing out numbers. He's saying numbers, right? He's, numbers, good numbers, and some bad numbers. Let's get those bad numbers out of there. Good numbers, more numbers, extra numbers, right? And quickly, almost immediately, Jerome Powell is standing off to the side, and he goes, Jerome Powell was shaking his head. You know those people who got like perfect pitch? Jerome Powell was shaking his head like somebody with perfect pitch going to karaoke. Like it's And look, this is not something that happens often. No, Trump's used to talking, and when he talks, people either nod or they stay quiet. And we saw this in spectacular fashion in like 2020. Because he would stand up there, and then the people next to him, the people behind him, sometimes you catch them being like, huh? Like they were still trying to process what he said. But then he would just be talking. And sometimes he'd even turn to them, look for some confirmation. What do you think about that? And then they would be like, we'll have to check. I've never had the taste of bleach in my mouth, but I suppose anything's possible. These experts, these doctors, these people, they weren't doing the thing that they should have been doing, which was because he didn't just shake his head. He said it. He said it out loud. No. in this position if more people, and I'm not even talking about politicians right now, I mean more people who have to deal with government had the courage to say, no, that's not how medicine works, no, that's not science, no, that's not English, no. A simple no is powerful, you know? And so sure enough, Trump hates Jerome Powell. Trump hates Jerome. Oh, he hates Jerome. Oh. Trump hates Jerome. Trump hates Jerome Powell. Like, let Jerome. Trump hates Jerome Powell, so he hate him so good. Trump hates Jerome Powell so much, he did something he never does. He did something we haven't seen him do. Either time he's been president, he did something I didn't even think he was capable to do. Trump hates Jerome Powell so much. Through his teeth, he hate him. He hate him so much that Donald Trump did homework. Because he was saying the numbers, and he was saying the numbers, and he was saying the numbers, he was saying the numbers. And then Jerome Powell went, no. And even Tim Scott was next to Trump, nodding and saying yes, while he was saying no. Yes, with those big teeth, saying yes, swinging those teeth, yes. But Donald Trump heard Jerome Powell's no, and it was almost like he had practiced this. He was ready. He hates Jerome Powell so much. Ooh, he hates. Ooh, he hates him. And so he goes, huh? What? No. Oh, well, I have the paper right here. And then Donald Trump pulled out a piece of paper and handed it to Jerome Powell like it was checkmate. I had never seen this man prepared in his life. Usually, when Trump has a chart or a piece of paper, it's because he already has a point he's trying to make, and he's just using that to illustrate. Trump has never had a Trump card. This man pulled out the piece of paper. You could see even Jerome was surprised. He was like, paper? Reading? You saw Jerome had to break out the glasses for it. He was like, oh. And because numbers are numbers, because math is at least something that, even if you have bias, even if you have an intention towards an intended goal, the math will still make sense or not make sense. Something will be true or not true, right? And so even Jerome Powell, I'm not saying I know this man, I'm not saying he's infallible, but in this moment I'm thinking maybe he's even thinking, whoa, what if I'm wrong here? What if there's something I don't know about? The president just pulled a piece of paper out as soon as I started saying no, like he rehearsed this. So he takes the piece of paper, throws the glasses on, and you can see him reading it. You can watch the clip. And he goes, no, this old, no.
Salt Lake City, Utah. Please make some noise for Josh Johnson!
There's a lot of times when you're reading the news, going through all these stories that deeply depressing. Every once in a while you get something that's a little, I don't know, a little spark. Something that takes your mind off of all the bad stuff, even if it is one of the bad things, you know? Like, I don't know if y'all saw, but Diddy's lawyer trying to quit. Diddy. If you're not familiar, Diddy is gonna be buried under a prison. But in the Constitution, for as long as we have one, there are things. For as long as we have a Constitution, there are things laid out in it that state your rights as a citizen, you know? And your rights in court. You have the right to not incriminate yourself. You have the right to an attorney. You have the right to a speedy trial. You know, you have these rights because we've tried to set up to the best of our ability, and not a great ability, a justice system that kind of works. You know what I mean? I look at the American justice the way I look at my uncle's car, right? It barely runs, but it does turn on and off. Like, functionally, it is still a car, even if you do have to push it sometimes to really get it started, and you can't trust the brakes. Functionally, it fills the definition of a car. You know? And when I look at the justice system, I'm like, it's a system. But within that system, for as long as we've had it, we've had an individual, whether they did or did not do something, needs to be represented by someone up against the state or the party suing them. And the people that take on these criminal cases, maybe they take them on because they just know our system works best when there's at least someone where it won't be popular, but there's someone to stand on the other side of the thing to make sure that the scales are balanced, that gives an honest effort, even if this person did what they're accused of doing, is a monster. None of that matters, because for the justice system to be a system, we at least have to walk in the door with the scales at balance, right? Innocent until proven guilty, and just something so that we don't all tear each other apart. And then there are people who really believe their clients. They really believe in the innocence of this person. They're like, I know this thing looks bad, and I know from every angle that everyone should just throw their hands up. But I believe this person when they told me that they didn't do it, and so they represent them, right? And neither of those seem to be the case for Diddy. Like that was all mostly theoretical. It's just his lawyer quitting. His lawyer's name, I might be mispronouncing it, but I'm pretty sure it's Anthony Rico, which is one of the most insane last names to have while not wanting to represent Diddy at all. That would be like your lawyer's name being Danny Murder, and he's like, I can't be next to you, though. That's wild that I can't be over here. Because I didn't even know that lawyers, I didn't know that lawyers could quit. Everything I know about the law, I know from like movies and TV and stuff. And usually when you're watching a movie or TV show where someone is having, you know, a butting head scene with their lawyer, it's either the lawyer being like, well, look, if you're not going to be honest with me, you're not going to tell me everything, then you can just find somebody else. And you don't really know what that means, right? Or the person in jail be like, or you're not even doing your job. You don't even believe me. You know what? You're fired. And then I don't know what that means. You know? But in Diddy's case, this person, I didn't know that you couldn't just quit. I didn't know that you could quit, but I also, if you could quit, I didn't know you couldn't just quit. This is sounding dumber than I'm intending it to sound, but
I'm telling you the way I found out. I didn't know that you could quit. And then when I found out you could quit, I didn't know that you couldn't just leave. You have to file a motion to quit. You have to let the judge know I need to quit. You can't just quit the way you quit at Costco. You can't just walk out middle shift. You know what, I'm gonna do something else in my life. And so, he filed a motion so that he could quit, and in the motion he says, under no circumstances can I continue. Woof. Under no circumstances can I continue. This man's paying you millions of dollars. Under no circumstances can I continue. And then they, you ask, hey, why can't you continue? And he said, hey, look, I'm not going to give you any reasons, okay? People are asking him, I'm not going to give you any reasons, okay? Because that would violate attorney-client privilege, which I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the law. I don't know many laws at all. But that sounds very guilty to me. That sounds wildly guilty. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the law. That sounds very guilty. It feels like he walked, when you're saying, hey, why are you quitting? Because I have to. Why? I can't tell you it would violate attorney-client privilege. That sounds like he did it then. That sounds like he did everything then. And the thing that's special about this particular lawyer, Anthony Rico, saying under no circumstances can I continue, is that this guy was Osama bin Laden's lawyer. And it's like that. Sir, what did he do? What did he do to make you, who defended Osama bin Laden, who defended Osama bin Laden in 2001, peak Osama? If there was ever a time where the heat was on Osama bin Laden, it was 2001. And you were right there, like my client. But you were Diddy's lawyer. And you were like, you know what? Terrorism is one thing. This guy is nasty, okay? That is very nasty. I can't be a part of this. Tonight it doesn't sit well with my soul. Oh. Because I know if you're Diddy's lawyer, you got your work cut out for you. You got a whole lot of work cut out for you. You have to hope a new pandemic breaks out that only affects memory. That's the only way you have a chance, is if almost everybody forgets everything. Because look, once again, most of what I know about the law, comes from Law and Order, which means I know nothing about the law. Because in Law and Order, they got to wrap it up pretty quick. They take you on a journey, but they got to wrap it up by the end of the episode. Everything can't be to be continued, And so they got to wrap it up. So if they choose to have any of the episode take place in court, a lot of times what will happen, especially if you get into those close minutes where you're like, ooh, it's almost top of the hour. How are we going to resolve this, right? They usually just have the prosecutor, like the DA or the ADA, really badger the defendant, right? Like, you did it, didn't you do it? You did it, and you do it again. You looking and doing it right now. You did it, and you did it, and you did it well, and then you did it, and then you got caught, and you wish you were doing it right now. Look at you, you're not even here. You're letting your eyes glaze over. You're in your mind doing it again. Look at him, he's doing it again right now. He's doing it in front of us, and doing it, and doing it, and doing it. Didn't you do it? Just say you did it, because you did it, and we all know that you did it. You'll never not have done it because you did it and you know you did it. You do it again if we let you out. You doing it right now in your mind. You did it, and then the other person finally goes, I did it. And usually they freak out and they're like, I can't handle having to say no more than 8 times. I did it. Oh no, the jury. Dick Wolf. And that's not how it actually works in the real world. Like, sure, there are people who testify and then don't help their case. You know, they get up there and they say things that maybe make them look like they're not sorry or make them look more guilty than they're even presumed to be and everything. But you don't really have that with Diddy. Not just because the trial hasn't started, but with Diddy, he did record himself doing everything he's accused of doing, and the FBI has it. That is pretty bad. Only thing worse than doing something is doing it on camera. You know? Even if the entire jury could not see, they could hear. So it's rough. He also has not only the lawyer that Osama bin Laden had, Diddy's got like 3, 4, 5, 6 lawyers. Got a lot of lawyers. I didn't even know you could have that many lawyers. I guess you can have as many lawyers as you want, but like that already. I'm not a lawyer. Glad I'm not on the jury, but that looks very guilty to me. Everyone that I know who's ever gone to jail or been found innocent and didn't go to jail, they had one lawyer. They had one lawyer to be like, hey, it's just me and he didn't do it. That was the whole proceeding, right? They didn't have a soccer team. That's crazy. You got so many lawyers. I bet you that was one of the things that his lawyer said. He was like, look, you're gonna be good. You got 80 other lawyers. Okay, you don't need me. Let me go. Please, I know too much. No, because at a certain point, a certain amount of lawyers, I know that everyone has their specialties, but that looks bad to me, at least. It's like you need that many specialties at once. You accused of that many things that you go ahead and break up the work like a group project. And then to say you have like 5, 6, 7, 8, 92 lawyers, for any one of them to quit does make everything look worse. You know who didn't quit? OJ's lawyer. OJ's lawyer saw everything. He even saw him in the Bronco, and he was still like, I got you. We gonna be good. You know who else did quit? Jeffrey Dahmer's lawyer. He saw that to the end. Ted Bundy didn't even quit defending himself. He was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep going. Let me see how this plays out. At any point, he could be like, you know what? I'm making me look extra guilty. Let me go ahead and get some help in here. No, it's mind-blowing. I don't get it. You represent Osama bin Laden. And he was number one in the world. You went for the criminal. You repped the criminal. And whatever we're finding out about Diddy behind closed doors, you were like, not this. Yuck. No. Because you see people in situations where they look incredibly guilty or they do something very dumb that's almost indefensible and they still have legal representation that sticks by them. There was a dude who, okay, I shouldn't laugh, but it's one of the dumbest crimes I've ever heard of. So basically, there was this dude who went to break into it was his house. He lived with his mom, right? But he was gonna go ahead and rob the house and try to sell a bunch of stuff off, right? So then he broke into the house and then got caught because I guess police were just happened to drive by, right? And then they see him breaking the window, going into the house. Had a key, breaking the window, going into the house. And then coming out with the stuff, they arrest him, and he can't believe. He's like, you have no right to arrest me. And at first, because he's explaining everything, they thought they had no right to arrest him because it was his place where he lived with his mom, even though it was her house, right? And he said, no, you have no right to arrest me because it's daytime. He genuinely believes you could only get arrested for burglary at night. And his lawyer didn't quit. There was a dude who he tried to rob a bank. He ran up in the bank. This was years ago. This dude ran up in the bank and had his gun out, and he was like, go ahead and empty everything right now. I'll kill everybody. I don't care, swinging the gun and everything. And then the tellers were like, do you want a bag? Because he just came in, just him and the gun, just waving, him and the gun. No bag, no nothing, not even a backpack, just here with the gun. The money now. And they were like, would you like something to hold it with or anything? And he was like, damn right, it's a real gun. And they were like, sir, we asked, would you like a bag? Would you like a bag with the money? We're getting the money right now, but would you like a bag? And he's like, you're right, I've had it. And then they turned to each other and they were like, I don't think he can hear us. And so then they hit the alarm. The alarm going off, this dude's standing there. I'm waiting for my money. They're like, no, we're getting it. They get the money, they get the bag, and before he can even leave the bank, cops roll up. And basically, he was hearing impaired. And so then he sued them for taking advantage of his disability. And his lawyer stood by him. Do you see how this normally works? That's how it's supposed to go. Your lawyer is supposed to stand by you. They're supposed to be your ride or die. Diddy's lawyer said, no, I like to live and I will not be getting in the car. Oh, that's insanity. That many lawyers. You got 98,000 lawyers. I feel like Diddy just gonna keep hiring lawyers to make sure there's no one left to be on the jury. I don't even know what you would do. You know what I mean? Like, when you look at a situation like this where the whole world knows about Diddy and Diddy's case, right? It's global news, right? And everyone is expecting things to come out during his case. So there's more eyes on it than even when it started. It wasn't just a thing that popped up, oh, Diddy got arrested and then it's over. It's the fact that all of Hollywood could be implicated. That's the feeling that people have, right? So people are going to be watching the trial nonstop for every update possible because maybe your favorite pop star, maybe your least favorite R&B artist, whoever, right, will be involved in this case somehow. And so the whole world will be watching, and the whole world already knows. So how could you not have, in a sense, at least if you're Diddy's defense, a tainted jury? Because how are you going to pull from people who can be impartial, who don't know who Diddy is, right? And then when you pull those people, a judge can say, and judges tell people all the time, look, I don't want you to engage with any media about the case. I don't want you reading any tabloids or social media or anything like that. And don't talk to anybody about the case. No podcast, no whatever, right? No interviews, no nothing. And even if you do that, it's impossible because of the way that we live in the world and the way that we interact with social to not be bombarded with things about whatever the biggest news topic is. So then how is it possible for needed to have a fair jury, right? And his lawyer could have made that case just now. And instead he said, no, I'm getting away from this dude. I cannot be near him at all. That's so bad that the only black lawyer he had was like, nah. You're not gonna get me caught up. Because, you know, I think he's just scared. I think he's scared that he's so close to it that he's literally just representation, but he might go to jail. That can happen. I didn't know that could happen, but that can happen. I had never seen it happen in my life until Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen, in case you don't remember, was Trump's lawyer. And Trump got in some legal trouble. And somehow, Michael Cohen went to jail. That's a superpower. That's a superpower if I've ever seen one. I've never seen someone dodge charges so hard they hit their lawyer in the chest. That's crazy. That's the I'm rubber, you're glue of law. That's insane. Trump had all this legal trouble. He's like, take him. Michael, I'm sure Diddy's lawyer saw that and was like, that could happen to me. I refuse. My last name is already Rico. No, have to get away. Because who takes up for you is huge. Who takes up for you in a situation where you're in the public eye and you have a scandal or you've been found to have done something, right? Whoever takes up for you, they do shift the narrative around you, and they do shift public opinion, either for you or against you, right? Like, let's say in a scenario, right? Completely hypothetical scenario. Let's say I'm driving. I can't. I'm very bad at it. But let's say I'm driving. Once again, this would never happen, all right? I failed my driving test and I have not driven since, okay? I'm very bad. But let's say I'm driving behind the wheel of a car, which I should never be. It's a chair that could kill someone. It is insane that people just get in those and just go. Like, that blows my mind. I will take an Uber or the bus. I am fine without being behind the wheel of a death machine because all it takes is your foot and you could just take anybody out. That's crazy. I don't like being in cars in the front driving. Every time I move, it moves. That's crazy. I don't like that at all. I'll sit in the back. But let's say I'm driving, okay? And I'm driving because maybe my friend is hurt. Maybe my friend's like, oh no, I'm bleeding. No, I've been shot, whatever it is. And then he's like, you have to drive me to the hospital. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll kill us both. And so then I get in the car and then I'm hitting stuff. I'm just, because I don't know which one's the gas and which one's the brake, because honestly, they should be further apart. In my opinion, it should be like go-karts, like right foot gas, left foot brake. And then you can just drive like this. This feels more natural to me. I don't know what y'all are doing with this thing. This feels insane. To see people doing this all the time, ooh, I'ma start, I'ma stop, I'ma start, I'ma stop, whatever. I want to just do it like when you're in a go-kart. I drive so well in a go-kart, not just because I can't go fast enough to murder, but also because I know that left is stop, and that's fine. But sometimes you get a foot. Uh-oh, I've hit them both. What does that do? So then I'm in the car and I'm driving, right? And I'm doing it poorly because I do it poorly. Because as I've said before, on stage, to many people, I don't like lefts. So I take rights until I get there, okay? So I'm just gonna take a right and then take a right, take a right. My friend probably gonna bleed out, but I'm taking these rights because a left will kill everybody, right? Now, I get to the hospital. Let's say I've got to the hospital and I have run over at least 26 people, okay? So I'm being arrested. My friend is hopefully being treated, so I've saved his life, but I am in a lot of trouble. And let's say that Dolly Parton came to my defense, right? Because I'm not famous enough to get in trouble on the news, but there might be a couple of tweets where it's like, do you see that comedian just floored everybody? Just drove on the sidewalk for 6 blocks and took a right and drove on the sidewalk for 4 more blocks and took a right and drove on the sidewalk for 2 blocks and then took a right and then got to the hospital and hit somebody in front of the hospital. And I only hit them because I was trying to hit the brake, but it should be over here. But instead, it's in the middle. I guess. I don't know. I'm never in the car right there. I don't know what y'all do. Why isn't it just pep? Why isn't it just buttons? Let me hit a gas button. That would be nice. To just have the wheel and then a button. Right thumb is gas, left thumb is brake, and it's like a video game. But instead, you're just over here. Crazy way to do it, but y'all do you, okay? Let's say, though, that Dolly Parton comes to my defense. Probably never gonna happen. I don't know her. Would love to, but let's say. She's like, I know Josh personally, okay? And I know he would never purposely run over 26 people. It must have been something that happened. And you say he was in a car. He said he would never do that. It must be an emergency. Oh, he was trying to help his friend. Y'all, please, if you can find it in your heart, to forgive Josh and his dumb feet. I'm just saying, if Dolly Parton came to my defense, I think that would shift a lot of people's opinion of me. Everyone loves Dolly Parton. Everybody knows Dolly Parton is a sweetheart. And so if she came to someone's defense, you would think, oh, if Dolly sees something in this person, then yeah, maybe they're a good person. Maybe she's right. Maybe he didn't mean to run over 26 people. No. I don't know what Diddy does from here, because the guy who represented Osama bin Laden dipped. I don't know who you get after that. That seemed like the bottom or the top, depending on what your definition of willing to represent evil is. I don't like if the dude who represented Osama is like, I'm a dip, I don't know who else would jump in, you know? Giuliani? Okay, well, he lost his license. I'm positive he lost his license. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's the only one who can do it. I have no idea. Because someone did come to Diddy's defense in the wake of Diddy losing that representation, close proximity to Diddy's lawyer being like, I can't do this anymore. Someone did come to Diddy's defense publicly. Unfortunately, it was Kanye West. In a tweeting tirade, Kanye West went on an absolute rampage. He called himself a Nazi. He posted a bunch of anti-Semitic stuff. He said all sorts of things. And then he said, by the way, free Puff. I think if you're Diddy in jail, you're like, this is worse. That is worse. I did not know it could get worse than the Osama bin Laden lawyer leaving me. But this is bad. This is very, very bad. That was me kind of doing a little bit of rap in the way that Diddy does it because he's not good at it. You know what I mean? But yeah, this is bad. This is worse because he's calling himself a Nazi and then he's like, also, that guy. Think of that guy and me. Together right now. Think of when you think of me, I want you to think of him, all right? But who knows? Maybe when the lawyer who represented Osama bin Laden dips, maybe the only person left to represent you is Ye. I think that's I could see that. I could see Ye showing up to court being like, Your Honor, I rest my case.
I'm very happy to be here and not at home in New York where I live, because I don't know if you heard, but New York City had an earthquake today, which, you know, would be terrifying if it wasn't already New York City. There's so much happening in New York all the time. It's fun to think about where everybody was during that earthquake, you know? There's a lot of crime in New York. Somebody was getting robbed during that earthquake. Somebody was in the middle of like, give me everything. Don't move! You know? Some people were in their apartment. Apartment shakes. Buildings are so old and decrepit, they're like, I knew it was gonna collapse one day. I was just hoping I'd be at work when it did, but it's an odd thing, you know? Maybe somebody is visiting New York. They just got there, very excited. And you know that annoying type of, oh Lord, okay. Not talking about you. It just sounded like so much stuff. Like that, it's clearly more than one plate. Oh, but maybe somebody just got there and they're very excited. They're like, ooh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go get some street food. I'm gonna get an authentic New York hot dog. This is gonna be amazing. And then earthquake hits. And then they are covered in hot dog water. It'd honestly be the most New York experience they could have. Another thing, I think enough time has passed that I can talk about it without it being awkward. Like, one of the weirdest things to me about 2020 in general was, you know how there's bunker people? There are people that save up a bunch of money to build a bunker in different types. Some people build a bunker underground. Some people have a different location they're going to go to if things hit the fan and everything. Some people have like a whole site that they've built and stuff. And we've always, for years, for decades, made fun of them, right? It's something that started in the Cold War because they were so sure that the Russians were going to bomb us that they started to make bunkers, and it was a normal thing. Then, as those sort of fears started to disappear a little bit, it became less common. But then there were some people who were still like, guys, something's wrong. Some bad things could happen. So they made bunkers, but then they started making it with, you know, their personal wealth and everything. And we made fun of them all the time, you know? And then 2020 hits, global pandemic that affects everyone in every country. And almost all the bunker people were like, that shit ain't real. But you built in case the whole world. Can I go in the bunker? Oh, man. I've been thinking a lot about just the general power of marketing, of ads and everything. And I don't know about y'all, but I always feel like I'm smarter than ads. Like, I always feel like, that's ad. I can see it. That's product placement. You can't fool me. You're not going to get me. That's an ad. And I always feel like I'm better than advertising, like I'm above it all. But I do have a bunch of stuff that I don't use, that I don't really remember why I got it. You know? And I think it's something that we need to pay more attention to, just the power of marketing, how influential it is, you know? Like just imagine a world where you work at some sort of agency, right? An ad agency, whatever, some type of marketing agency. And not now, right? Let's go even further back to when people were paying even less attention to ads and they were served less of them every day, right? Let's say you know, 70s, 80s maybe, and you're working at this agency. And you go in one day to work, just any regular day. And let's say you're like co-VP or something like that. You're high up there, right? And then you get into the building and everybody crying. You don't know why. People are walking out with those, those cardboard boxes specifically for when you're fired. Everybody out there shaking, walking about, running out and everything. And you're like, what happened? And no one's even answering you. As you pass by people, you're like, what happened? They're like, no. And then you get to your office. Maybe you share an office with somebody. And so you look at your partner and you're like, hey, what's everybody so upset about? What happened? Right? And then he's devastated. He's like, oh, it's horrible. One of our biggest accounts, top accounts, right? One of our top accounts, Kool-Aid, that some cult grabbed some Kool-Aid and they put a bunch of cyanide in it. They did like a mass thing. I don't know, the client is freaking out, People may never buy the product again. We don't know what to do. This could be the end for us, because if they close, we close, right? And then you, being the brilliant marketing agent that you are, you stand there in the moment that this is happening. The day that the news has reached your office and you're like, you know what? Screw it. Let's lean into it. They drank the Kool-Aid. It's just that good. You think about it. Any other product, any other time frame, that product would be done. You know what I mean? Like if a bunch of people killed themselves with Snickers, I don't know if we would all be like, you're not you when you're hungry. You know what I mean? That's the power. To this day, even after a tragedy like that, to this day, people be at the barbecue like, pass me some of that red. That's some good stuff, And the thing about it is that on its own, it's not bad, right? On its own, you're just trying to sell something. You're just trying to make a buck. And maybe it's something that people will like. In an ideal world, all the marketing leads the people to what they want anyway, right? But it doesn't always work that way, because we found that the easiest way to make money is to make people feel like they don't have something, to make them feel less. So then if I'm less, maybe this thing will make me more and it'll make me enough, right? Because if we never feel like we're enough, then we always need a little something else, right? And that's how they make money. If you were always content all the time, no one would be able to sell anything to you, And so on its face, it's not bad what they're doing. But when they're all doing it at the same time, and it's most of what you see, when it's ads all the time being like, you're not this, you could be this, you could be better, right? It just starts to make you feel terrible. It starts to make you feel like you don't matter at all. And I hope one takeaway that you have from the show, not just laughing, I hope that you walk away from the show feeling like you matter as a person, right? Because you do. It's very important that you feel like you matter, that you have influence, because you do, right? A world where you think you don't matter terrifies me, because it means that all of the little pieces, all the interactions that you're supposed to be having with other people are going to be missed out on because you think you don't matter, right? Like we all sometimes feel like a little cog, like a little bolt just in a big piece of machinery, right? Because the bigger picture is bigger than all of us. But you are so important. Even if you feel like you're that little bolt, you're very important. It's not the same without you. I hope you understand that. You're as important as every bolt on the door of a Boeing plane. Because maybe that's what happened. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe at the factory when they were building the plane, they didn't screw the bolt down all the way, so then the little bolt's like, do I even matter? If they don't care, why should I care? Then mid-flight, it's like, I give up. I don't care. And then the door flies open, you're like, oh! What the hell? No! Because you're the window seat. Oh. And now you got the CEO of Boeing, David Calhoun. It's important to say their names. No, it is. They always just get to move like these faceless people that don't do anything and then get to enjoy them. It's like, no, his name is David Calhoun, and we should all know it and say it and hopefully find him. Just to chat. You know? But no, he's stepping down. And I don't know. I don't like that. He's stepping down now, and I think that should be illegal. You shouldn't be able to go. You should have to stay until it's fixed. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy that you messed it up. And now you're leaving with a severance package, by the way. With a, you know, articles call it a golden parachute. How ironic. You get to leave, but you messed the whole thing up. You know? And I know he's not fully alone, but he's the lead. You know, when you're the CEO, you're the captain. You know? And he gets to leave? That's crazy. And he gets to leave richer for messing it up. That's mind-blowing. He should have to stay until it's fixed. This should be the last job he's allowed to ever have. Until it's fixed. You know? And if it closes, then no more work for you. And by no more work, I don't mean you get to go off and enjoy. I mean, you will not make another dollar for the rest of your life. You need some stakes to be in the game, you know? Because I had a friend actually take up for the process. I had a friend be like, but Josh, now that he's stepping down, someone good could step in. Someone that cares, someone that could fix the thing. And I'm like, are you brand new? Like, what? In what world is that going to happen? That's so crazy. I told him the same thing I'm going to tell you now. Imagine you're on a flight, right? Middle row, middle seat. You're not having a good life. And you're on this flight, and during the flight, you feel this incredible turbulence. And I'm not talking about those air pockets where you drop a little bit. I'm talking about you're hearing noises you've never heard before. Just like terrifying stuff, all happening at one time. And it's not just like a little bump, bump, bump. You're swinging, you're slamming into things and everything. Those air masks drop down. You know, the ones that definitely don't work. I hate that part of the demonstration so much, by the way. They always put the thing on and everything, and then they're like, the mask may not inflate, but oxygen is still flowing. It's like, that sounds like something you'd say to a dead person. That's one of the craziest things I've ever heard. The mask may not inflate at all, but I promise it's still working because you won't be able to tell anyone it didn't. Mind blow. No, I swear. You know? But let's say that's happening. You're in it. They're screaming, people crying, people praying, people tearing up and everything. And in the midst of all this turbulence, the cockpit door swings open. And the captain walks out. And the captain doesn't walk out to say, hey, everybody, we have it under control. Please don't panic, right? Captain doesn't come out there to say, look, the PA system broke. I just want to tell you myself, we're all going to make it. We're all going to be okay. I'm going to make sure we make a safe landing, right? The cockpit swings open and the captain comes out to say, I've decided to resign from my position as your captain. It's been an honor, but I can no longer uphold the standard of this plane, and so I will be leaving. Wearing a parachute, by the way. He's wearing a parachute while he's talking to you. He's wearing a parachute while he's talking to you, because I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I know I messed everything up, but I'll be okay, okay? And then he jumps out of the already open door. No, shouldn't be allowed. welcome to the Josh Johnson Show. Josh Johnson, joined by my co-host, fellow stand-up comedian Logan Nielsen. Logan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay, man. How are you?
I'm fine. You know, it's like it's a pretty okay couple of weeks and stuff. Like I really can't complain. I'm finding though that I like living in New York. Mm-hmm. Not always in love with it, but I think that I understand old New Yorkers now, because the things that I've seen since I've been here, it's like at a certain point it does become too much, where you're not even like enjoying that there's a story there. You're genuinely like, no one should see this much, you know?
Yeah. No, I know what you mean by that. I definitely know what you mean by that.
Because I like to take walks. I like to just go and take a long walk and think, or try to get out of my head, or, you know, just a long walk. And I remember one time I walked from, I don't remember where I was in the city, but I walked to Brooklyn. Like I walked home, you know? Yeah. Which took hours. Like this was like a 3-4 hour walk that I was on. Mm-hmm. And some of it I was listening to a podcast. Some of it I wasn't. Some of it I was just like taking the day in and stuff, you know. It's a nice enough day. And I don't know, at a certain point you get to a place where it's good to be present, but sometimes you don't want to be present where you are. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you're like, man, sure, it's good that I'm like in the moment, but this isn't a good moment.
That was like a vaguely nihilist Hallmark card you just had there. It's always good to be present, but sometimes you don't want to be present where you are.
Look, if you are okay, the best example.
No, I get exactly what you mean. It's just I would like that. I think we should start making cards that are just very neutral like that.
Hey, it was
because it's not even pessimistic. It's not even bad, really. It's just kind of like,
It's just there are some times where you only want to be so aware, because awareness is like anything. It's like, I even think, you know, this goes against any Zen teaching, but I think even awareness should be in moderation. Like I don't think that it's healthy to just be locked in all the time. And I realize your life is, you know, you only get one and you only have the time that you have. And we don't know how much we have. But to be fully locked in, especially if you're not in a good place that day, you know? Yeah.
It's real easy to just then to go like, what's the point of any of it just because you're having a shitty day? I do that all the time. Are you kidding me?
But like,
I will go from having an amazing day and being like, you know what, I'm really lucky to have the life I have. And the next day then I'll just be, and it's not even like a depression thing, but it's just like nothing matters. Why do I care about anything?
I went on this walk, and I at one point I sat down. I think I may have been at Meatball Shop, but I wanted to just get something to eat and something I know I would like. Like I was not feeling adventurous this day. I think I may have even been in a bad mood. Like I think easily I could have been in a bad mood. Anyway, I'm sitting outside, taking the day in. And I don't even like eating outside. You know I hate it. I hate eating outside so much. You are a slave. You are at the mercy of the elements. And the people that love this is just, it's too much for me. The fact that when you
it's like camping, you know?
Yeah.
That's why people like it.
Oh, God. Anyone who loves eating outside has not had enough stuff happen outside. Like legitimately, you're at the mercy of whatever passes by, whether that be dirty wind or like, you know, a car really fling some sludge onto the sidewalk. You're on the sidewalk. There's no dining out in New York. There's only a couple of beer gardens in the entirety of New York.
So
Yeah.
if you're eating outside, you're eating on the sidewalk.
You're on the street.
Yeah.
You're at the mercy of the streets of New York.
This place was busy, so I had to eat outside. And for whatever
Okay.
reason, that day it was nice enough I didn't mind it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like being present. I'm locked into the fact that like the sunlight is hitting everything in a really beautiful way. There's like a brisk breeze, but it's not consistent and it's not chilly. And it's just enough, like the temperature is just enough that you don't even feel like you're outside. You know that perfect temp that's like it almost like it I know it's not because we would be boiling, but it feels like it matches your body temperature because you just, even though you're outside, you feel like there's no weather because it's just such a comfortable temperature. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know, but I've rarely been comfortable outside.
I'm
I'm a large, sweaty man. I don't know.
I feel like we talked about this one time while we were walking, maybe when we were doing the Colorado shows, and it was so nice out that we were like, oh, it feels.
And I think that's because that's an air quality we're not used to. You know, higher elevation
Sure.
stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it felt perfect. You get less of that, I don't know, heavy air.
That could be it. Like my thing is basically,
whatever.
I said all this to say, I was taking in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It was a beautiful moment, and it was broken by a couple that like sadly wasn't breaking up. This just seemed to be one of their fights that they were having.
Oh.
And they're at the table behind me, and it's just, you can tell they've been whispering for a while and now they're too pissed to whisper. And so it's just him being like, who even are you? Who even are you?
Oh, yes.
And I'm like,
Yes.
not
Were
today.
were they at one of the other tables?
Yeah,
Or were they just
yeah.
happened to be
They were
out?
at the table behind
That's
me.
even better. That's even better.
So they're outside. And the worst part is that the entire inside is packed, but the outside is just me and them.
Oh, okay. So,
So
you're
this-
a third wheel to this
This entire
argument.
restaurant is too packed for me to even sit at the bar.
Right.
But then outside is empty. It's just me and them.
Yeah.
And it's like it was it's just too much. You know, like that, because they're not even having like a nasty fight. Their fight is barely interesting, right? That one at one point, the guy he says something to her, and now they're talking at the level that I'm talking right now. So not loud, but just talking, just not whispering
Right.
anymore. They're both too
Yeah.
angry
Yeah.
to like worry about company, and
Their guest, Josh.
And basically, out of nowhere, she's like, I don't even want to talk about this right now. You're embarrassing me. And he's like, in front of who?
Ouch. Burn. That's a dig at you.
Well, he doesn't see me. He's like back to back with me. He's like, in front of who? We're outside. All right. Am I embarrassing you in front of New York?
Yeah.
And
She goes, you're embarrassing me in front of podcast and television's Josh Johnson. What a great way to meet a fan. That'd be the best.
It was horrible. And then they managed to eat. So I guess they must have got there like 5 minutes before I got there, because they stopped fighting in time enough to order, then start fighting again. Then they stopped fighting for the
jeez.
little while that they were eating, and then started fighting again until the bill came. And it was like
That's
fact,
too calm. That's too calm while having a fight. If you're
fact
fighting
that they
before
ate
you even
fast.
order. Yeah.
That's the thing. They ate fast so they could argue more. They actually didn't enjoy their food so that they could be like, and another thing. Like, that is so
Wow.
wild to me. It was horrible.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm honest, though, I would have loved that. But we've talked before. I enjoy couple fights on the streets. So
Yeah. You would have loved
that's-
this one. Just
that's dinner and a
slinging
show.
spaghetti out of your mouth on a sidewalk in the afternoon, too. Like, that was my other thing where I was like,
It happened today?
No. This is a while back.
Okay,
But
but I was just wondering, was it a weekday? Because today's a weekday. and
no,
it's like,
it was
if
a
you-
weekday. Yeah.
Wow, so
in
afternoon.
my head, this is when I was on hiatus. So then in my
Okay.
head, I'm like, okay, y'all are either like me, where you're on some sort of vacation and one of you has ruined it,
Yeah.
or neither one of y'all has a job anyway. So like, I don't know why. Because here's the thing: if you're out like that, if you're out in the world like that at 3:30, I'm not gonna presume to know what's going on with everybody's life. But if you can be out in the sun having spaghetti at 3:30 on a Tuesday, you got a good life. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So what are you fighting about? You know?
what are y'all fighting
Why?
about?
What are you fighting about?
Because y'all
you
weren't
clearly
fighting
got
about
it
the
made.
bill.
You got afternoon weekday spaghetti. What can you be mad about?
I'm just saying. Think about how many people, like, are either have to worry about something or have to be at work at 3:30.
Oh, for sure.
So then the fact that I'm here, y'all are here, everyone else is here, by the way. I did not expect that place to be packed on a weekday for like it must have been an entire corporate office's lunch.
Oh yeah.
Late lunch.
Yeah. Closed for private
3:30.
party.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. 3:30 is a strange time too.
Dude, so first of all, I walk in, I almost think it's an actual private party, like someone's birthday, because I've never seen the place that packed even at night. So then
Right.
I walk in and I'm like, something's happening. Like, are they shooting a movie here? This is crazy. Right? And then they're like, oh, we have seating outside. I'm like, oh God.
You hate eating outside so much. And generally, I don't love it either. It has to be the right type of weather for me to want to eat outside.
Have you eaten outside New York?
Yeah.
Oof. It's the worst here. I don't even know
Why-
if I care about
why do you
eating
think-
outside other places.
Why do you think it's the worst there? What is it that really...
Bro, there's no think. I was farted on.
See? This is what I'm trying to get to. I'm getting to the goods.
This dude.
When did you get farted on while eating outside in New York?
I went to a restaurant with Sally, and I think it was Mediterranean or something. Went to this restaurant with Sally, and it was good. We were enjoying ourselves. And then this guy passed by, and is like playing on his phone or something, and just fully lets loose. And you can tell. I still debate whether or not it was on purpose. Like maybe this dude was being a jerk, who knows? But
Yeah.
he farted really loud and really hard right as he passed me. And then I had a moment of like, and then whether he heard me go, or whatever, he just like bolted around the corner. And I was just like, so he definitely did fart. And it wasn't
Probably
even
farted.
like he farted and then laughed or whatever. I think this person was genuinely embarrassed.
Yeah, something happened to him there. He wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. And like, honestly, we're outside, so it's not even like I smelled anything. But I just realized as I was out there that if this did happen inside, I'm not saying it can't, but if it did happen inside, there'd be a discussion. You know what I mean? You're not getting away from me that fast inside.
Oh, you can't. Yeah, you can't sprint away.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're saying there'd be some slight decorum, perhaps, if it happened inside.
I would at least catch up to you and ask you if you have
Hey, did you
ruined your pants. Because it didn't sound like a healthy fart.
Oh, see, so this is more coming of concern for them. You're more concerned about this person and their well-being.
I guess. I mean, I wasn't that mad,
I guess.
but I would like to know. It's like, hey, are you gonna live? Like there's some noises that come out of a person where you're like, no, you're sick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
No.
yeah, especially I don't know. Why is it worse that it's someone not at the restaurant with you? It's just a passerby.
It's just a passerby, because they could be living a dusty life. They could be living like a genuinely unhealthy
Right,
life
but-
where they shoot out hot dog farts at you as you're just trying to enjoy your grape leaves.
Okay. So you've been farted on. Gotta say, that's a first great reason. It's a first great reason to hate dining outside New York.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other reason? Because you keep talking about the elements. Has anything happened to you elements wise?
This did not happen to me because I was inside.
Okay.
But I saw outside that a bike messenger, at least he looked like a bike. He could have been seamless, but a bike messenger completely totaled a table. So he was not looking.
No.
And like this dude, okay, this, I don't know. I don't even know if I should be laughing about this because everybody seemed genuinely hurt. But he basically, this guy was coming out of nowhere. And in New York, there are bike lanes, but there aren't enough bike lanes, and the bike lanes aren't everywhere. So sometimes
they're not consistent. They're not consistent.
Yeah. So sometimes someone, especially if you have a certain route, as a cyclist, you get on the sidewalk. This person clearly was turning from a street with a bike lane to a street without one, and was not looking ahead, was probably looking sideways or maybe looking for the bike lane or whatever where it was going to continue. Because
behind them, they're being chased.
To be fair, there was a van. Like this is what ended up happening. There was a bike lane, right? This person was in the bike lane. At the turn, like at the intersection, there's a parked van that they would have either had to turn more into the road to pass or mount the sidewalk to pass. Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah.
When they mounted the sidewalk, whether they were looking at the van or whether they were looking to see if the bike lane was there, they mounted the sidewalk and then just completely ate up this couple that was sitting at a table outside.
Damn.
Like it was really bad.
That's like a
like the person,
that's like a movie stunt.
Yeah, like the person on the bike went flying first, right?
Oh, no.
So the person on the bike went flying. Then the person that they sort of flew over just slid more onto the table. Then the person that they flew into fell back with them. And so the person that they flew over that's like pushed into the table just falls sideways. So then all the food falls on that person. But it was one of those things that when you see it, you immediately think that the cyclist is in the wrong, but then you see the van and you're like, all right, well, I don't think that should be there because no one was in it.
Oh,
Someone just parked their van, like, you know, kind of in the intersection almost.
But yeah, like,
just imagine you're at a restaurant and the table explodes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, yes, it sounds bad. It sounds like everyone got hurt, but golly, I bet that'd be great to see.
Look.
Oh man, that'd be so awesome to see. Sounds really bad. I hope everyone was okay.
Can you imagine? Okay, this is what it looked like. Do you remember the Spider-Man movie from 2001? Maybe the one with Tobey Maguire, the first,
the original Spider-Man.
Okay. Yeah, the original Spider-Man. Remember,